think most of my life I felt kind of like an outsider. And it's not that I didn't have, social groups to be part of or people to be around, but being an outsider is sometimes something you just feel internally. If you don't really feel like you connect with the people around you, you just don't feel like you're part of the group you're in. And
Yeah.
I mean, as human beings, we are social animals. Our survival strength comes from our ability to socialize and move in groups. So I think I began to compensate by doing things and getting involved in things and beginning to develop certain behaviors and traits that were not necessarily what I wanted, but what I felt like I had to do in order to kind of fit in. And at some point after I left college, I started to really feel like I didn't like how my life was. And this is, I think, one kind of the plus sides of feeling like an outsider is you don't feel tied to any particular place where you are. So you're more willing to go outside of your comfort zone because you don't really have a comfort zone. And you're willing to go explore new things and take new opportunities. So when I had an opportunity to move to a new state and start life all over again, I took it and ran. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't consult my family about it. I didn't say bye to my best friend. I just, one minute I was there, next minute I was gone. And I thought that was great. I was excited about it. And for the first year or so, it was really cool getting to explore a new state, new city. But then the outsiderness started to kind of transition to something that's a little more, I think, I would say dangerous for people, is actual isolation. And I'm sure that I don't know the full scientific explanation of all that and definition of it, but I know that when you're an outsider, you are still it's sort of like being lonely in a crowd. When you're isolated, you are cut off from the crowd, which does present a lot more problems because you're not socializing with people, you're not interacting with people, there's a lot of what makes us who we are that is defined by the people we're around. And if you're not around anyone, you can kind of, I don't want to say lose your sanity, but a little bit. I think I noticed how bad it had gotten when I was home. I was home with my parents, and we're walking around to dinner, and they noticed I was talking to myself, and they looked at me like, "Ahil, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this?" And I didn't realize I was doing it, but it kind of was something that happened. Like if you don't have people to talk to and have conversations with, you kind of end up having them with yourself. And that, not to say that talking to yourself is dangerously unhealthy or anything. It's important to have those self conversations, but if that is the majority of your interaction for a significant period of time, there's going to be some detrimental effects to it. And that was about two years or so. I think I acknowledged these feelings after college, but I realized they had been there since well before college, as early as grade school, throughout my entire grade school life. But I only really accepted and acknowledged them once I was out. When you're an outsider in a crowd, you try to mesh and mold to the social group you're part of. When you're fully alone, and they say a lonely mind is the devil's playground, and when you just have yourself and your thoughts, you pour through everything that is. You have a lot of time to overanalyze and analyze everything that's ever happened to you. And that was when I realized that the problem was not recent as having moved away. It stemmed back quite a bit further. And like I said, it's what allowed me to make that transition. And because I went through this, I got to kind of discover things that I liked rather than trying to adhere to a crowd that I thought I belonged to. I was able to find hobbies and things I am passionate about, and through that I was able to find new social groups that also like what I like. So I would say what really helped me was finding people that have the same interests as you, whether that's artistic, whether that's activities. Find a group. So for me, I found like a dance troupe that I joined, and that helped a lot. And I started going to dance conventions and making a larger network of people, and that helped a ton. What helped a lot was to understand that you may feel lonely, but you're not alone. And that a lot of people feel isolated, feel like outsiders in the crowd. It's a very common thing. Even people who you might think feel like they're part of a group, or people who seem to be happy all the time and to be doing great, we all feel that way. Sometimes we feel it for a short period of time, sometimes it can prolong. And I think I would say if you find it prolonging, try to assess what is it about your situation that is kind of causing that. And in my case, it was kind of the job I was working. I was kind of cut off from that, so I was fortunate I was able to leave that and find better opportunities. Maybe it's where you live. If you live in a very remote part of the world and you don't have a lot of interaction, that might be part of it. And I guess another thing I would tell people is if you move from where you grew up to a significantly different place, try to remember to be open-minded, because you're going to meet a very different type of person than people who are from where you are. It's not a bad thing. The world is full of all kinds of different types of people, and it definitely broadens your horizon when you get to interact with people that have nothing in common with you, and you get to learn about different ways of life and different types of people. Yeah, find what you enjoy, what you're passionate about. There's most likely a group for it, forums, meetups, or conventions of many kind, artistic, technology, most industries. There's meetups in big cities, and I would definitely recommend, if you are a college student who's about to graduate, try to live as close to a big city as you can. It's a lot easier to network there. Not to say that you can't feel like an outsider there, but it's definitely easier to find your interest and your passion in highly populated, more densely populated areas. I'm definitely better because some of the things I'd started to do in order to try to fit in were not things that I liked, found truly enjoyable, or that were necessarily healthy for me or good for society at all. So if I had to do it over again, I would do the exact same thing, because as difficult as it is to like cut yourself off from society like that, in some situations it might be necessary. If you feel that the world you live in is not the one that you want, then don't be afraid to make a drastic change and make a giant leap. You never know what it might be there. You might have to take 3 steps back to take 10 steps forward, and there's going to be growing pains when you take those steps back. But when you endure them, it makes you stronger. You're not. I wasn't satisfied with what I was doing before, and I knew it couldn't go on, even if it meant having to spend some time in a difficult situation. I didn't want to continue down that other path.